Welcome to Carver Conversations. I'm your host, Tiff Marchand from Night Carver Designs, and this is a Sabertooth podcast, and I couldn't be more excited to be here. Head on over to sabertooth.com and sign up for their mailing list. They send out a coupon once a month for 25% off. You have 24 hours to use it, so you're not going to want to miss out on that chance. You can use our show code to save 10% off. The code is EM2CO. Head on over, sign up for the mailing list, and if you want to buy them now, EM2CO at checkout. Make sure to have that all in caps, and on to the show. All right, today on the show we have Andy Hall. Andy competed in the We Make Sawdust challenge that's hosted by the Awesome Orange. And ever since then, we've had our eyes on him. He's constantly posting, constantly carving, and just really wanted to find out more about him and to see where he plans on going in the future with his carving. So I hope you enjoy the conversation, and here we go. How are you today?
I'm not too bad. I just got done carving a little bit ago. Knocked out some quick carves for the day. Yeah.
What are you working on? Oh, just like quick ones to like stock up?
Yeah, so I got a show this weekend here, local show. So I just did a few pumpkins, a tree, and a little cardinal.
Nice.
Just trying to ramp up inventory, just some quick things.
I'm hoping to see more pumpkins coming soon from everybody.
I just did 5 more today. So,
yeah. So are you doing this on the side, or is this something that you're doing kind of full time?
So this is on the side. I work in IT full time. So I'm actually sitting here at my desk. So 8 hours a day, I'm working from home at my desk. Sometimes I go into the office, but after work and weekends, this is my thing, what I like to do.
Nice.
Yeah.
I relate to that from my previous experience. Like it's fun to have something else to concentrate on, especially when it brings in the income.
Yeah, it's definitely good side money. It's good for like trips and a lot of times just like putting my money back into my business too. And just being able to like buy new blades and sanding discs and gas and oil, because all those things really add up. And I don't think anyone realizes like how much really goes into that.
So, I didn't even think about how like the high gas prices with chainsaw are. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like I can run a gallon of gas for a few different pieces and have to refill every so often. But just blowing through that, it does add up. It's like,
yeah.
Your gas just got under $4 a gallon. So
yeah, just recently. I'm just thinking if a lot of people went to like electric like that or battery operated, like that was my thought as we're talking.
Yeah, I've seen some artists do it and I'm tempted, but I haven't made the plunge yet to try it because all my power tools, I run electric cords because like my drills and stuff, I look them on battery, but then if I don't have an extra battery, they're all dead, then I can't use that tool for the day. So I use all power tools that have an extension cord.
I see. You're like, I don't want to be responsible for those batteries. It is a thing though, like because I use battery operated for everything that I do. So I make sure it's a routine. I go into the shop and I'm like, okay, it's battery time, charge. But you do get in like a nice routine, but it is a thing. I literally was just talking to Sadie. Actually, she said hello, by the way.
Hello, Sadie.
Her and I are going to Makers Camp in like 2 or 3 weeks now. And we're like the back and forth, like planning thing. And I'm like, we got to have a battery charging station. Cause
that is true.
like, I'm like our first thing we got to do is like get there and plug these batteries in and go.
Yeah, I do need to invest in it and just test it, because if I could just swap batteries out rather than using gas and oil, it'd probably save me some money in the long run.
Yeah, I've just seen a few people doing it, and I was just curious now. Like, I do wonder how many people have opted for that, just because it overall will save money.
Yeah, it's really popular now, because I was just at a steel dealership and I was looking at, I needed some new chains and oil and stuff, but they had some battery powered chainsaws, and I'm like, should I actually invest in one? And I'm thinking about it. So, and they had like the dime tips and the really short saw. So it would be a good investment.
I'm so curious. Maybe we'll have to do a poll and just see what people say. Like, are you using this? Because isn't that something I'm kind of curious about now?
Yeah, I'd like to see who's using gas versus electric or even battery powered. So
have you always used a chainsaw, or is this new for you?
Well, my dad showed me the basic chainsaw carving when I was 15, so over 15 years ago. Um, he showed me basic bears, eagles, critters, and he was doing this pretty good for a while. Now he's into aviation, so he doesn't do it as much anymore.
Mhm.
But when I was in my mid 20s, I picked it back up, and all I knew was sanding disc, um, then Dremel with the little sanding wheel flap that you
Yep.
gotta watch your face and it flew off every
Yep.
time. That's what I kind of grew up with is started power carving. Um,
It's kind of all that was
so
around for us back then, though, too.
yeah, it was a game changer when I found saber tooth. I just started following them a few years ago, and then really started power carving a few years ago, and it was night and day. Like my work improved overnight. It seemed
Yeah.
like, yeah,
It's amazing the amount you can get done with a burr, like just like
yes.
1/8 inch burr. It's
Mhm.
crazy.
And the different ones too. Like I have the little disc whisper
Mhm.
bit I was using on a little cardinal, and I just had to touch up his beak, and it took like 30 seconds, but I didn't have to swap tools or anything
Yeah.
like that. I just threw it on and got it done. So
Doing these Ninja Turtles that I'm currently working on, like,
those are awesome.
thank you. But like I've never done anything like that to that
Yeah.
capacity.
Mhm.
And I keep swapping each time I do them. I'm like, well, let me try this burr. Like I'm really trying to feel out what I like best, but it's just crazy as you go lower. And like if you go to the whisper grit, the amount of control you can get. Now I'm using pine, so I
Yeah.
can speak to that level, but I
Mhm.
love it. It is so addicting.
Yeah.
Instant results.
Yeah. The one thing sometimes I don't like is pine's great for that, but I'm
Yeah.
working with what's the wood, poplar out here, and
Oh, it's so hard.
it just kind of snowballs, and then I have to use my torch and then go back with the sander, and it just really depends what the wood is. And
Mhm.
then if you go one way with the bit, it's smooth, but if you go the opposite way, it just leaves all this residue. So it's you just kind of play with it and figure it out.
Yeah,
So
100%. Yeah, it is funny how like I know that rough, like it's not even just like it's a crazy texture sometimes if you go the
yeah,
wrong way on a spot, you're like, oh,
yeah, where it jumps back at you, and that's always
yeah.
scary too.
Mm-hmm.
My turtles are real popular, and what I'll do with like the coral is I use
Hmm.
one of it's not the course, it's the blue. I don't know if they make the
Oh,
blue ones
that's the
anymore.
supreme. Yeah.
The Supreme. So that was my first bit I got from Sabretooth. And just using that, it grinds so well. But if you hit a wrong spot, it jumps. And I've came close to hitting my hand a few times on it, but yeah, it's scary. Now I got the green and I use that on it, and I'm like, okay, nice and smooth, and it
The
doesn't
green's my
jump
preferred
as
texture
much.
too.
Yep.
The blue is it's probably fun, like because of how fast things go, but man,
Yeah.
green is like it's that perfect balance. It's not too much, but like it's still it takes a ton off. Like, yeah.
Yeah, because I was introduced to those when I did the We Make Sawdust challenge back in
Mm.
October when I did the Jack Skellington,
Yep.
and it just like carving his hands into the log and then carving Oogie Boogie. It was just super smooth and clean, and I didn't have to
Mm.
really go back over it or anything at all.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just talking to her about it because I was like, okay, which competition was he in? Like, I was trying to remember, like, which one was it, the first one or the second one? And I'm like,
Yeah.
who were his competitors?
Mhm. Yeah. Now I go back. I should like as a chainsaw carver, like I should have just made a bench. It was that's the
You,
chainsaw carver thing, is just making benches. I should have just
yep,
carved something like that. But I tried a chair. It worked out and I got a lot of hits on it. So
nice.
yeah.
I know people do a lot of benches. You're
Mhm.
right.
Yeah. The
I mean, they're awesome.
Golden Carver Awards, they have competition right now for functional. So they're doing a different competition every month. I haven't joined yet. But there's a lot of benches being made right now, and they're beautiful.
I'm gonna
So
have to
I don't know if
follow them.
yeah, Golden Carver Awards, they're
Okay.
sponsoring that right now. They do giveaways and everything else. And I haven't jumped on the ball yet because I mean I work from home full
Yeah.
time, and I haven't really had a chance to like get big pieces done and like try to do it yet. But
Mhm.
hopefully here in the next couple months I can.
Now you're in IT. Are you working crazy hours or do you have like a normal day, like eight
I have a
hour
normal
shift?
day, 8 hours, but sometimes I
Okay.
go about 10. I start my day around 8 o'clock, and sometimes I'm not done till like 5 or 6. It just depends on the day.
Yeah.
I work in software development for one of the national banks, and it's just a lot of upgrades and maintenance on things. And I've got a lot of teams that we're trying to do installs
Yeah.
every month. And we've got the one this weekend, and I have a craft show this weekend. So I'm trying to balance everything. So my
Yeah,
guys
I get
work
it.
with me, like I can't be online, but I can watch and help you guys out. So yeah.
Yeah. So you're balancing a lot.
Yeah. So do you do this full time?
I just started, so I've started my own self-employed like gig where I'm social media manager for Sabretooth and for Workbench Con, and
Okay,
then whatever I can squeeze for myself then.
gotcha.
Take your time. Don't jump into it. It's a serious
I'm
life
not.
leap.
I know. I'm not rushing. One day, hopefully, it will happen, or I can just
Yeah.
make this more than a part time. I just do
Mhm.
more craft shows and just start doing bigger business.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
So you started trying this at 15, like with the
Mhm.
chainsaw and stuff.
Yeah.
Like your dad, how did he get into it? I'm just kind of curious. Like, is that something he just picked up randomly, or is it like
So
your whole family?
so my grandfather, he was a welder and he was obsessed with clocks. And at his house, he had clocks all over the wall, like down in his basement. He had his own clock shop. But he did a lot of welding. He taught welding classes too.
Oh,
So
it's
he was
awesome.
making, yeah, he was always making little balancers and little figurines. And then he got to whittling and wood carving a little bit. So my dad whittled, and then he started trying to do chainsaw carving. And folks saw him in the yard and they're like, "What is that? Can I buy it?" And he's like, "Oh, I didn't expect this." So then he just went full chainsaw carving, set up shop at his house, and everybody was just pulling in, stopping, and looking to see what he was doing. And he got me into it a little bit. And I was in high school. I started working, and I was like, I'm not really into it. But when I got in my mid-20s after college and everything, and I was like, okay,
Yep.
I want to give this a try again. And then I bought a couple of saws and got back into it. And then over the last like 10, 12 years, I've progressed significantly. Um, but yeah, that's where kind of the history of the right.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
pick it up.
I had a
Yeah,
feeling there was more. I was like, if
yeah,
dad's doing that, then he must have had a history of his family
mhm,
doing like tinkering. Cause I mean,
yeah,
some people just pick it up out of nowhere. They saw it, they want to try it. But sometimes there's that cool family history with it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what's funny is my dad taught me 15 years ago, and a couple of years ago, we did a bunch of carvings up at what's called Olentangy Indian Caverns here in Ohio. And
Cool.
I was reteaching my dad things, and I was showing him power tools, and it was fun for me to be able to teach him. At the
Mhm.
same time, he's kind of, his wheels are spinning. He's trying to figure things out. He's coming back to basics, and um, so it was just really cool to have that experience with him as he's teaching me when I was 15, and then here almost 20 years later, I'm
Yeah,
teaching
that's
him again
awesome.
on how to do different types of things because I watch the pros, I learn, I sit there and watch videos over and over again and get it in my mind and draw. And then I can take that and show him how I progressed from when he taught me to where I'm at now.
I think it's fun for our parents to see us passionate about something they were passionate about too. So
Yeah, he
it's
he he
nice.
pulled me aside one day. He's like, "I never expected you to go this far with it." I'm like it's fun. It's like it's kind of scary running a chainsaw, and some of the bigger ones, like I've had some chainsaws where the logs, I just throw the logs with it by accident because of
Yep.
chainsaw. But it's just liberating to be able to go out there and make a piece of art that's unique, and it's not
Mhm.
just like a canvas painting or string art or something that's you can sit in the house and do. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's been kind of a theme of the show too, is it's something that you
Mhm.
can touch and that you can experience
Yes.
because
Yep.
it's three-dimensional, you know?
Yep. Yeah. I just
Yeah.
had 10 TV news channel out here last week, and he filmed me, and
Oh,
it just
cool.
he was just impressed by the whole thing. He's like, I don't even know where to start. But he was like filming, he's like, "What are you doing now? What's that? What's this? What's
Mhm.
that?" He has like no idea what goes into it or the
Yeah.
process behind it. And that's why I try to do some video to kind of show those steps. Yep. Yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with the videos with some of the bigger pieces, and some of the
Mhm.
smaller pieces, like if it's just repetitive, like I do it over and
Right.
over, then it's cool. But like the Groot and some of the different bears and like anything like comic book related, that's like kind of where my passion's at. That's kind of where I like want to focus
Mhm.
where my videos go.
What are your goals with like social media? Is it just something to sell it with, or is it something that you want to get into more?
I want to get into it a little bit more, but mainly to just get more sales and then just
Mhm.
get my word out around locally. I've never been like a big social media advocate or anything like that. I don't want a million followers or anything, but
No, I'm just curious. Yeah.
yeah, it's getting more into it, trying to learn different videos and tricks, but that's how you get out there.
Yep.
And I'm to the point now where it's like, okay, what do I need to do? There's all these different audio things now, and I'm trying to keep up with the technology.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, what? Okay, so one video just got like 21,000 views, and another one got like 15 views. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
It's heartbreaking
yeah,
sometimes when
yeah,
you look at the
mhm,
views. You're just like, oh, that's cool.
yeah, like whatever. Do you want
Yeah.
to buy it?
Yeah. Well, that's the hard part about like this world is that a lot of things are based off social media and that you have to get
It
out
is.
there and do it. So, because the
Yep.
reason I asked that is because I saw that recently you started posting on your YouTube again. I didn't know if you were
Yeah.
trying to like continue to
Well,
build on that.
the reason the reason why I post to YouTube is because like my dad, he doesn't have social media, but
Ah,
I try to send him a video and it doesn't come in crystal clear. So, and I know like the older generation that they don't have social media.
hmm.
I'll post it to YouTube just so it's there and you
Yep,
can say, hey, here's this, go out here and see it. And most people can just know what YouTube is and go out there and look at anything. But if you
exactly.
tell them Instagram or Facebook, they're like, well, how do I get there? And I'm like, well, here's a link, and they still don't understand. So
Hmm.
that's the reason why I started posting on YouTube again, mainly.
Well, it's good. It's smart. It just broadens your audience. And if you're just
It
going to
does.
recycle content that you have already, it's not, I mean, it is a pain. I do it every day. I post my video to Instagram,
Yeah,
then to TikTok, and then the same video to YouTube. And it is
yeah.
exhausting.
I-
But at the same time, it's like that's three different audiences that are getting to
right.
see that. So,
I think sometimes it takes longer to do the video editing than it does to make the piece. And I'm
yes.
like after I make the piece, I'm sitting on the couch, like just going through videos, trimming the videos, and then trying to figure out how to piece them all together with the
Yeah.
right audio. Like just having the different options like Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for me, it's okay, they have a different option to go and see whichever one they want.
Well, plus you
So
could probably play those videos on a loop on your iPad or something while people are in your booth and
that's true. Yep.
it's a nice sell and bonus. So they go like,
That
oh,
is
look at it getting
that it
made.
is.
Because
Yep.
that's an app you can do that. You can't do that like if you're on Instagram or something. Like YouTube, you
Right.
can just hit play all and just let it go.
Right.
Yeah.
What I wanted to try to experiment with is I know there was, I think his name's Colin. He does like the real big paintings, and he like gets up on strings and he's like attached to it. And he has
Oh
these
no, I've
big
never seen
pieces.
this.
I can't remember his last name, but he he does the video, but when he sells his pieces, he gives each customer a little flash drive. And it has like all the background content, all the video and everything that went into
That's
that with
cool.
like a certificate of authenticity. So I was thinking maybe doing like little flash drives with like bigger stuff that I make and say, hey, here's a flash drive, shows a whole video and
That's cool.
everything else, everything that went into it. So
I don't know if you follow Ricky TV, but he does give people a flash drive at the end and he does like these
does
big
it?
installations. Like he does like
Okay.
restaurant or store installations where he just does all this decorative stuff. And at the end, he's like, here's all the content. It's
Oh, that's
it's
awesome.
it's a nice little feature. What are your hopes? Are you trying to go bigger? Like, is that the goal at the end? Or
Yeah, I do. So I've been having orders come through, just getting quotes for right now,
Mhm.
but I do want to get bigger into it. I want it to be more than just part-time.
Mhm.
I've had really good sales in recent years, in that now that I'm better and I've explored saber tooth and what it can do for me, I do want to get bigger. I eventually want to go pro and be sponsored and start doing shows. And I just got to
Cool.
block the time and step
Get
away and
out
just go
there.
do them.
Yeah.
I got to travel. There's not a lot of chainsaw carving events in
I
Ohio.
was just gonna ask that.
Yeah. So
Yeah. That's the hard part. Like in Massachusetts, I've never heard anything about it. Seeing a chainsaw carver is a rare thing. There's like two people I know of in this area.
right.
That's
Yeah.
it.
I follow chainsaw carvers on Facebook. So there's a whole group.
Oh,
And I
that's
always see people posting like, hey, we need a couple carvers, and everyone's jumping on it. And I'm like, I'm in Ohio and I gotta plan like a whole time off from work and then
mhm.
everything else through the weekend. So I just need to just like focus and book it and then just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's dedication. Yeah. That's definitely a commitment. Are you trying to go for like a big piece? Like, do you want to go large on your carvings, or do you like the smaller pieces?
I like the smaller pieces, but I do want to go big. I have done really big pieces before.
Yeah.
Nothing like in those chainsaw carving competitions, nothing to that extreme, but I've done a 7.5 foot eagle with American
Nice.
flag, 5 foot gator, pretty
That's
good
cool.
sized Brutus. And then what else have I done? So Brownie the Elf from Cleveland Browns. I've done
Nice.
that. He's 4 foot tall. So I've had to use an engine lift for some of these logs just to even lift them up. And
Yeah.
I got two ginormous logs in my barn right now that I can't even move or physically stand up.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
I know, that's like, I was talking to Ella Fielding, and she does like the 15 feet carvings, and I'm just like,
Mhm.
but a lot of hers are still in the ground. Like, the
Yeah,
tree's still in place.
right.
So she doesn't have to worry about the lifting. But yeah, that's a whole nother challenge right there. Yeah.
Absolutely. One lady just messaged me. She wants there's a stump that she has that's 9 foot tall, and she wants an eagle on top with a flag. So I'm hoping to get more
Cool.
commission orders like that. Yep. One guy down the road, I just went and saw his tree, and he wants it's about 8 foot tall. Wants a Santa Claus, and he looks like Santa Claus. It's hilarious.
That's fun.
But he works. He's getting ready to retire, but he does Santa Claus events. So you can hire him out as Santa Claus, but he wants a big Santa Claus in his front yard. I think that'd be awesome to be able to do. Just do like a 9 foot
I
waving
hope we get
Santa.
to see that. Yeah. What's your preferred? Do you use a die grinder, or do you use rotary tools?
I do both. So a lot
Both.
of the sanding I had to use the die grinder for. But the rotary tools like the Makita,
Mhm.
that's my favorite one. Because I can get the larger bits on there. And
Okay. Yeah.
then I've got Dremels everywhere. Like they burn out pretty quick, so I've got them on hand. My dad gets me one about every year for Christmas. And then he actually got me a battery operated one, and I haven't really used it yet because I'm been using the other tools.
Mm.
But yeah,
Obviously, I'm guessing an array of burrs.
yes.
Yeah. There's
So
no favorite, or is there?
I think the green course bits are my favorite so far.
Mhm.
I do use the whisper bits a lot for the smaller pieces. They do still leave a little bit of residue, so I got to
Mhm.
kind of go back over with the sandpaper and then get like the nose and stuff smooth, or finish out some spots.
Yep.
But those ones are my favorite. But I do use the whisper bits the most.
Yeah. I have been choosing to use them majority of the time too. Like, I have
Mhm.
to like tell myself, go to a higher grit first, because their
Yeah.
whispers are so awesome. Like,
Mhm.
they really are great. I'm glad they were starting to come out with different sizes and stuff with them too.
Got another one here. This guy, I just finished him, and everything is whisper bit on his mouth, his nose,
Mhm.
and his eyes. I got I don't have the saber tooth ones. I need to order those, but they're the eye tools.
Yep.
So I need to get those. But I got I think it was the Makita eye tools I bought a couple years ago. But
They're called
yeah,
like the cross cutter or something like
the
that.
cross cutter. Yep,
Yeah.
I call
Yeah.
it the eyeball bit.
I know exactly.
Yeah.
I haven't played with that either, but I've seen people do like fur and stuff on an owl with
Mhm.
them too.
Blowing up saber tooth and posting everything
Yeah.
every time I carve something. So they're sharing it. They're giving me a lot of business too. So I really appreciate that.
Good. Appreciate when you guys tag us, because we want to share what everyone's doing. We want to show and like inspire others to pick it up if they are, curious about it, because
Mhm.
I think it's intimidating. But when you see everybody just experimenting and sharing
Yeah,
more, because there's so many different styles and levels of
right.
carving out there, and
Mhm.
I love mixing it up.
Yeah, I love seeing all the posts because it gives me ideas of like different cuts and different tools to use. And I've seen some carvers use the bits different ways, and they
Yeah.
just maybe they just coat the surface to give some fur rather than just using a chainsaw to give some fur.
Yeah.
It's just different techniques that you can just learn from watching other people.
Did you see the one today with the guy with the bear? I shared it to the actual page with the bear's nose, and he was taking the eye cutter burr, because there is one called the eye cutter.
Mhm.
He was just
Yeah.
like stabbing it in the nose, but it was leaving the most
I s
incredible texture. And
I saw that one, yeah.
I'm like, I would never have thought to
Yep,
just stab it in the nose like that to get the desired texture.
yep. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, there's some awesome talent on there.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
for sure. What's a project that you've made for just yourself?
Um, I mean, it's not just for myself, but probably for my wife more than anything. She sees my carving, she's like, "Can we keep it?" I'm like, "Well, if it doesn't sell," and she's like, "Okay." Um, but the items that I've made for myself have been mainly like furniture, but we've got a bear on the front porch with the lantern right now, and she's really wanting to hold on to that one. But we've got a bear that matches the furniture that I made. I made an entertainment center, and the
Cool.
doors on them, I did silhouettes of a deer head and then an
Okay.
eagle head for the doors. And we got a bear that kind of matches the wood to match. So
Cool.
I've made that one. Yep.
That's really neat. Sounds like you like to build furniture as well, so I can see some benches in your future then.
Yeah. I mean, this is my office desk, and I kind of built it from scrap and threw a couple of drawers underneath of it. So yeah,
Feel like it's in my blood.
it is like she'll find something online. I'm like, I can just build that. She's like, we're gonna go buy
Okay.
it because you're not gonna find the time to build it.
Well, that's the challenge when you have a side hustle, is
Mhm.
like everything else is pretty
Yeah,
much off the list. Like home improvements are
yeah,
so hard to tackle because you have to stop your other thing. And it's just like, it is a struggle.
it is. It is. Yeah, I just spent I think 3 or 4 hours doing yard work the other day because it was overgrown, and we've got a pond out here. It just was all overgrown. I just weed whacked everything, but I
Yeah.
had to commit the time to do it when I want to do all these other things. I'm like, all right, I guess.
Yeah, I feel you. I had to do the
Yeah.
same. My land, it grows in every year,
Mhm.
and I have to go out there and take it all down. It's just exhausting.
Yep.
Nature. It won't stay away. Wants
That's
to
right.
invade. So when is your show that you're doing?
It's this Friday, Saturday, and
Oh, it's
Sunday.
quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And where is it going to be?
Grove City, Ohio. It's called Arts in
Okay.
the Alley. This is
Arts in the
their
Alley.
43rd year they're doing it. And I've been doing it the last, I think, 5 or 6 years now.
Awesome. So
Yep.
you probably have people expecting that you to be there too.
Yep. They did have me live carve for them on their 40th year. So that was pretty cool to do. So
You should just
yeah.
volunteer to do it, and that way you have people to come to your booth. Like nothing draws a crowd more than a chainsaw, right?
Yeah. Well, so it was weird. They had me set up in a different area, but they would watch me carve and they're like, well, can you do this or this? I'm like, it's at my booth. My wife's at right now. Go get it. And they're like, I run over there and buy it.
Yeah,
So
that's what I mean.
it was, yeah, we got a lot of sales that year just because I was live carving and they were able to see what I was doing.
Hmm.
I wasn't able to finish any pieces while I was there because I didn't have power at that booth tent. But we did almost sell out of the inventory that we brought. So
Yeah.
it was awesome.
Message them now.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm ever the salesman lately.
Yeah, like I was scared when we did um the fall we make sawdust challenge because
Hmm.
she messaged me and I'm like, what? I'm doing this challenge now. Like I don't even know what to do. Like it took me days and I was just so nervous about what I was gonna make.
Hmm.
I had to do some quick thinking on it.
You did a very fun project. It caught my eye being a pop culture horror Disney movie lover, you know? So
Yeah.
I was like, oh, hello, Jack Skeleton.
Yeah, he's still sitting out in the barn. He's hanging out with everybody else out there.
All his friends.
Yeah, all his friends.
That's a cool piece though to bring to shows that draws attention. Even if it doesn't sell, it makes people come to the booth because they see it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Well, I got to figure out how to get him there because he's so heavy.
Oh, okay.
I need a few friends to help lift him into the back of the truck
Yep.
and then unload him. I don't know if I'll be able to get him there this year,
I was gonna say
but
because that's a show.
yeah,
That's a showstopper. You know,
yeah, yes.
something to
And then
bring
people
them
can
into the
sit on
tent.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. You're gonna see how many selfies you have of that one chair for the day.
Right.
It's not a bad idea. It's good
No, not
marketing.
at all. Well, actually, I am actually doing a Brutus the Buckeye um, giveaway at the show.
Oh,
So
cool.
I'm trying to do a little bit more marketing for local business. So if you
Mm-hmm.
take a selfie with him, follow me, and then share it, and then you'll be
It's
entered
cool.
into winning a Brutus. So I'm trying to do like more giveaways
Mm-hmm.
to get, and it's kind of I've seen other folks doing it. So I'm like, maybe that's a good idea to start just doing giveaways every once in a while
Mhm.
and get more business that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Whatever helps, get the eye and get you more comfortable with interacting on social media too. Because it is hard. It's like one of those things though that if you don't do it, then you're missing out on so many
Yeah.
opportunities.
Great. My tattoo artist helped me get branded this year. So I actually got branding for my official logo after years, and I should have done this a long time ago, but I've got stickers, t-shirts, hats,
Perfect.
and folks are starting to ask for them. So that's even like more marketing that way.
Hmm.
It goes a long way, but folks are like, oh, you have a t-shirt, I'm gonna wear it. So
It's a
yep,
pretty fierce logo. I like
yeah.
it. What's cool? Is there anything that you want to talk about before we hop off? Is there anything that you wanted to touch on or any questions?
Um, I know Sabretooth just came out with a lot more of the is it the 1/8 inch?
So they had 1/4 inch and 1/8 inch for
Okay.
the whisper. Yeah.
Okay. So I've seen some of the more coarse grits come out on the 1/8 too as well, correct?
Hmm. They're
Okay.
so in October they're doing another release and it's going to be some more coarse grits coming out too. So
Okay.
I think their goal is to try to get as many of the different sizes and shapes that they have covered in the different grits. And
Yep.
it's interesting. This is a great topic. Thank you for bringing it up. I
Absolutely.
didn't realize that how hard it was to get like the stuff on. Like I don't know the technical terms, like
Mhm.
carbide, like tungsten
Yeah.
carbide, to get everything to adhere to the steel.
Hmm.
Like that's why the whisper is slowly getting released in different styles, is because it's actually
Okay.
challenged to actually get the grit on it. So it's very
Gotcha.
interesting. Like, yeah, I never thought like, oh, okay, that's why it's not available. Cause you always get
Hmm.
curious, like, why isn't every shape available with everything? But I guess it doesn't work out.
Right.
So it's,
Yeah.
yeah.
I need to invest some more in some of the ones I can throw on the Dremel.
Mhm.
Because I've got a bunch for the Makita die grinder. So I do need to invest in some more. Um, one question for you.
Mhm.
I, I've seen it, but what's the best way to clean the bits? Because some of my bits they're just ingrained with wood, and I can't clean them.
So the best way if you want to keep the color is using a brass brush and
Okay.
just scraping them. They
I've
don't
used a brass
recommend that you
button.
torch them.
Okay. Well, I've used a brass brush on the whisper bits, and it doesn't really work. So I didn't know if there's a
So
solvent
it's
or
okay.
something I could
So
use.
there is, yeah. So there is a
Okay.
solvent. I think it's just called Simple Green, and then you let it
Okay.
soak in, and it takes out the color, but it'll take everything off as well. So yeah,
Awesome.
you'll know the difference in your grits anyways once. But it
Okay.
is sad to say
Definitely.
goodbye to all the colors. So like they are fun to have.
Well, I got a little toolbox, and I've got them all in like the different color orders,
Mhm.
and I've got a line for each one. So even if the color did go away, I know where
Yeah,
they
you
all
know
are
where it
supposed
goes.
to
Yep. And then I love the 2-inch mini angle grinder. Like
go.
that's so fun.
That's another thing I need to invest. I have the 4.5 or 4 to
I
five
love
and
those
a half
too. Yeah. Yep.
grinders. I do need a smaller one, so I do
Yeah.
need to invest in those as well.
It ends up being clutch. Like you could just, and I think it's also is like after you, like for you, you're going to be tired from chainsaw carving too.
Hmm.
So if you can grab this little tiny angle grinder and
Yep.
delicately one-handed carve something, it's so
Hmm.
nice. It's like,
That's awesome.
huh.
Yeah, definitely send me
Yeah.
the info for those tools. So
Yeah, I will. I love
okay.
them. I love them. They're because we're going to the Makers Camp in New York. I don't know if you're going to that or if you've heard of it yet.
Uh-uh.
It's a 3-day maker event where we're going to be there just power carving all day long.
Okay,
And there's gonna be like a blacksmith tent, a welding tent, like all these different tents where you can come and learn a different craft. And
that's awesome.
myself and Sadie are going to be carving there all weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. So Works Tools sent a bunch of kits for us to use there, which is going to be great. So
Great.
everyone who comes gets to play. And then we actually got the Makita die grinders. So that'll
Yep.
be fun.
Awesome.
I got to
Yep.
bust one out. I've never used one and I don't want to be like a first timer at the show.
Yeah.
So I've got to
They're
sneak into the box.
yeah, they're fun to use.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm sure there's a learning curve though, from like when you've gone from a
Mhm.
rotary tool to that. Like it's just got to be like, I need to do a practice. That's why I've been practicing spoons because
Yeah, definitely.
I'm gonna bring spoon templates. I'm like, I need to practice.
Yeah, definitely practice because it takes a little bit more precision with from going from like a Dremel to a die grinder. And I learned that quick because if you, like I said earlier, if
Mhm.
you have it going a certain way, it'll jump,
Yep.
and it's just a learning curve.
What do you prefer?
I like the die grinder, but for the smaller pieces, I need to use a Dremel with the whisper
Okay.
bits, it's a little tiny detail. For the die grinder, I use the cross cutters and the bigger bits to get like the bigger detail,
Mm.
or if I'm doing like eye sockets or
Yep.
beaks and stuff like that, I use a
Okay.
die grinder every time.
Everyone who's tried a die grinder falls in love with them. So I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
sure I'll love it when I start using it. I've
yep,
never had the need, so I haven't used it. I've always been more ankle grinders. So
yeah. Test
yeah.
it out.
Well, I just want to say thank you for coming out. It's a lot of fun just like hanging out and just getting to know you a little bit more. And we do appreciate everything that you do and the sharing aspect. It's nice to have people out there who love the tools and help support the company by sharing and showing what they're doing.
Absolutely.
So,
Yep. Thanks for having me on. I
you're
really
welcome.
appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
Cool. And I'll send you some links after this so you have those.
Sounds great.
Great.
Thank you
Have
so
a good
much.
one. You're
You
welcome.
too.
All right. I hope you enjoyed getting to know Andy. I know I sure did. And it was really nice to just spend some time with him to kind of figure out where he's going with this and why he started. I always love knowing the stories of everybody of why they got into power carving. So we have some exciting news. We are days away from the Maker Camp at the Catskill Mountains, and I am stoked. Sabretooth has sent us so many different burrs and wheels to play with that we're gonna have a crazy variety. I've taken the time to go ahead and make a bunch of different templates. So if you've never carved a spoon or a scoop or a bowl, I've got all of that for you. I also have a pumpkin if you want to have fun and make a little Halloween pumpkin, and a charcuterie board, like a little mini one. So there's tons of options. You can also just, go for it freeform and have a lot of fun. So a huge thank you to Miller's Rustic Sawmill. They filled a whole pallet full of different hardwoods for us to play with, and a shout out to Forest to Home because they're also sending us some great wood to play with. So we are going to have options, my friends. Options. So if you're joining us, come say hello. We've got goodies to give out. There's gift bags, and there's some hats that I think you're going to have a lot of fun rocking. They're going to be like so needed with the temperatures that are going to be dipping down. So all right, I'm going to stop talking about it. I'm just super excited. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please feel free to share it and make sure that your friends get to know that there is a fun carving podcast out there for you to enjoy. Until next time, keep on carving.